the big picture is Mr. Munguia has taught 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this is going to be our 4th method. Mr. Munguia has taught 4 methods of factoring. The first one is GCF. Let me get my pen here. So GCF was the first method. That was about 3 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. And if you want to review veteran students GCF, that was assignment C36, about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Then we went into factoring trinomials. When A is 1. When A equals 1. In other words, trinomials that look like this: x squared plus 2x minus 3. Notice how A is equal to 1 right here. Those were easy. Remember, we just have to find 2 numbers that multiply to become -3, but add it to be 2. Okay, that's a second factoring method that I taught you, and that's from, if you want to review that, that's on C41, lesson C41, and lesson C42. Okay, here's a warm-up. Let me scoot the warm-up down. All right. The third method, okay, the third method that I taught were trinomials. Trinomials when A is not 1. In other words, a trinomial when you have, like, say, 3x squared plus 5x minus 8, for instance. I'm just making it up as I write it. Notice how A here is not 1. A is actually 3. That was a method where the inner and outers have to equal the BX. Remember, we worked on that last week. Okay, that's the third method. If you want to review, that would be on assignments C45 and C46. If you want to review those notes or the videos. Okay. And now, last but not least, is the last method of factoring, which it's called difference of 2 squares. This is the last method, the 4th and final method I'm going to teach this quarter. I'll teach more next quarter, but this quarter is the last one. It's called difference of 2 squares. You started difference of 2 squares last week on C47. Okay, so on C40, this is the last one. On C47, we began to take notes on difference of 2 squares, and we're going to continue that today. I'm going to go over some more examples of difference of 2 squares. So all that to say is this is our 4th factoring method that I've taught, the 4th one. And that method is summarized by this pattern right here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to dive right into our notes. We'll dive right into our notes. I'm going to go over a few examples on difference of 2 squares. And then veteran students are going to give me a grade check and credit check. In other words, let's see here. Let me show you what the grade should. So we're going to take, everyone's going to take notes together today, veterans and rookies. And let me give you a picture of what you're going to do after the notes, and that it'll be it. So you'll go to our Google Classroom. We're on C52, which means credit 5, assignment 2. Here we are. C52 is Monday. We're just going to take notes right now, like I said. And then after we take notes, we'll do one guided practice problem. If you get it right, just go on and do a grade check and credit check. Everything you've turned in, veteran students, not rookies. Veteran students, everything you've turned in thus far has been graded and posted. And you're going to do a grade check and credit check with only 4 days left now. It's crunch time, it's 4th quarter, it's 9th inning, whatever sport you like is it. the final stretch this week. So I want you to take a hard look to see where you're at with your grade and your credits. So you do both of these after the notes. We're going to do notes right now. After the notes, veteran students only. You're doing a grade check, credit check. That's it. You get your credit for the day. But you have to show me the notes too before we say goodbye. Okay? So make sure you're taking good notes right now. Rookie students, after the notes, you take notes with the veterans today, rookies. After the notes, rookies, you're going to go back up here. So last week, rookies, you were working on C11, C12, C13, C14, and now C15. Okay? If you don't get them all done by today, it's okay. As long as you're on Zoom, you could get full credit even if you turn stuff in late. If you're here on Zoom, you can get the full 4 points for any assignment I throw at you, even if it's late. And I'll get into that a little more in detail later, rookies. But for now, as long as you're here with me every day on Zoom and you're participating and you're responding to me when I ask, if I check in and see if you're there, you can still get full credit on everything. So don't worry if there's something you didn't finish last week. Welcome, Rocha. I'm just going over the game plan. So rookie students, C14 is taking notes on more rules of exponent examples. Here's a video that I recorded. And you're going to post something to Flipgrid. Click on that puppy. It takes you right to Flipgrid. Log in with your Google ID, your Google Apps ID from the district, and press play on the video that I posted. And on the video that I posted, I tell you what I want you to do. Once you're done, you're just going to mark that done, and then I go in there and grade it. If you're done with C14, then you're going to go to C15, which is actually an online assignment. You'll go to Clever. Click on this link, it takes you to Clever, and then from Clever, you're going to go to Big Ideas. The Big Ideas link, and then it's an online assignment. If you don't finish, make sure you save your work because it saves it on the online cloud, any work that you've done. So it's going to be your first assignment of math problems that are related to the rules of exponents, which is what you took these rules right here from C14. So in other words, you're going to use the notes from this video to do C15. So that's after the notes, rookie students. So to summarize, you're going to work on C11 through C15, rookie students, after today's notes. I trust that's clear. Any questions for me before we dig right into the notes for now? Good, let's do it. So everyone has a piece of paper, they're taking notes. Let's go back to that warm-up. That warm-up is going to transition right into the notes today. Watch. So let me erase this garbage. Actually, I don't have to. Yeah, let me erase it because I want to use that as a guide. Watch. So let me drag this puppy down here. So difference of two squares. Difference of two squares is simply a pattern for factoring. Okay, in other words, remember factoring is this stuff you multiply to get to other stuff. And all this difference of two squares method says is, look, if you have this pattern, if you're ever thrown an expression that has this pattern where something is raised to the second power minus something else raised to the second power, in other words, a difference means subtraction of two squares. Look at a square, b square. If you have a difference of two squares, the pattern will always, without fail, result in a plus b times a minus b. In other words, whatever number was being raised to the second power will be right here and right here. And whatever number here was raised to the second power will be right here and right here. And this will be the factors. These two binomials, believe it or not, these two binomials right here will be the factors of that. That is to say, these two binomials will be the stuff you multiply to get to that stuff. Remember my funny, unsophisticated, unacademic definition. Stuff you multiply to get to other stuff. Now, this warm-up problem is exactly a difference of two squares. You could see the pattern. Notice, Z squared minus something else squared. In other words, this Z squared minus 9 follows this pattern. Let me rewrite Z squared minus 9 as an A squared minus B squared. Watch. Z squared, that's already done. Look at Z is kind of like my A right here. Z is the A. Look at minus, let me rewrite 9 as something to the second power. In other words, let me rewrite it as something to the second power, like B to the second power. Well, I can see that 9 is 3 to the second power. Notice that. So what I've done is I rewrote 9 as 3 squared. Z squared, I didn't have to rewrite. It's already a pattern of like A squared. And notice my B squared is like my 3 here. So watch this now. I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm ready to write out the factors. I'm just going to follow this pattern. A plus B, A minus B. In other words, what serves as my A value here? Well, my Z does. And what serves as my B value? Well, my 3 does. So Z is kind of like my A value in this pattern, and 3 is kind of like my B value in this pattern. So I'm just going to follow this pattern. Look at A plus B times A minus B. In this case, it's going to be Z plus 3, Z minus 3. Done. In other words, this is the stuff I multiply to get to this original expression right here. Let me demonstrate in case you guys are doubting me. Look at Z times Z, Z times negative 3. 3 times Z, 3 times negative 3. Notice how after I multiply it out, it's going to be this, what I started off with. It'll be this. Watch. Watch the magic. Z times Z, notice right here, Z times Z is going to be Z squared. Z times negative 3 is going to be a negative 3Z. 3 times Z is a positive 3Z, notice. And I got 3 times negative 3 is going to be a negative 9. Rocking and rolling, watch this. So I got a negative 3Z and a plus 3Z. Those cancel out. Ladies and gentlemen, look what I have. I have exactly what we started off with. That's this. So in other words, these two binomials are the stuff I multiply to get to that original expression that we started off with. Let's try another one. Going to write example 2 for today. Going to write this one down. All right. The question is 4p squared minus 9, does that follow a difference of two squares pattern? In other words, does it follow, where is that gizmo? Here we are. Does it follow this pattern? Let me bring it over here. Notice, does 4p squared minus 9 reflect, let me bring this one down, this will be our next one. Does 4p squared minus 9 reflect this pattern? It does. It's a difference, remember difference means subtraction, of two squares. A squared minus b squared. I just got to rewrite this as a squared and this as b squared. Let me rewrite it. Watch. 4p squared can be written as this. Notice, 2p, all in parentheses, to the second power. Think about that. Is not 2p in parentheses to the second power equal 4p squared? It sure does. Right? And then how would I rewrite negative 9 as a b squared, as something to the second power? Well, we did that on the first one. That's going to be easy. This is going to be a 3 squared. So notice what I got now. It's very clear now that I have a difference of two squares with this problem. I rewrote 4p squared as 2p to the second power. That becomes this. And I rewrote 9 as 3 to the second power. So now I know what my a value and what my b value is according to the pattern. Notice I know what my a and b are. My a in this case is going to be 2p. My b is going to be my 3. So let me just rewrite the binomials now. So I got to put his a here and a here, and I'll put b here and b here. I'll put a plus right here. I'll put a minus over here, and I'm rocking and rolling. New students, Mungia likes rock and roll a lot. That's why you'll hear me say rocking and rolling a lot, so get used to it. Forgive me ahead of time. Now, a plus b, a minus b. So my a value is 2p, so I'll put the 2p here, and I'll put the 2p here. And my b value is 3, so I'll put the 3 here, and I'll put the 3 here. We're done, hon. Done. So far, so good. Let's try one more, and I'll let you guys go on to your grade check and credit check if you're veteran students. If again, rookie students, you're going to go back to C11 through C15. Let's do one more. We'll be doing example 3. Example 3. Want to write this one down? All right. Does 16k squared minus 25 follow this pattern, a difference of 2 squares? I think it does. Watch. I can definitely rewrite 16k squared as a squared, something to the second power. And I can definitely write 25 as something to the second power for my b squared. Watch me rewrite it. Watch this. Here we go. So I'm going to rewrite 16k squared as 4k, look at this, in parentheses to the second power. Notice that. 4k in parentheses to the second power becomes 16k squared. I'll put the minus, because remember it's a difference. Difference 2 squared is minus. And now I'm going to rewrite 25 as something to the second power. What can be raised to the second power to become 25? Well, that's going to be 5, isn't it? Notice that. Now I can identify, it's very evident now, it's very clearly seen what my a value is and what my b value is. My a value here is going to be 4k. My b value is going to be 5. So now I'm ready to rock and roll and follow this pattern. Come on in. Sorry about that. My son wanted some tools here. I know what my a value and my b value are now. It's very clear. At this point, I'm just going to plug in a here and here, and my b here and here, and watch what happens. So my a value is 4k. Oops. I'll put it right here, 4k and 4k. My b value is 5. I'll put it right here and right here. I'll bring down the minus here, I'll bring down the plus here. We're rocking and rolling, we're done. Notice that. Done, done, done. All right. What I want everyone to try now is just one on their own. Okay, just one on their own, and after you're done, veteran students, you'll go on your grade check and credit check. Rookie students, you go on to C11 through C15. Okay, so let me give you a chat. On chat, you're going to try one on your own. And let's see here. Here we go, here we go. So this one you'll try on your own. I'm gonna put the link on chat, like I said. Even rookie students, give me a shot at this one. Actually, you know what? Rookie students, go on to C11 and C11 through C15 now. Veteran students, I only want veteran students working on this one. So rookie students, goodbye. Stay on Zoom, but go on to C11 through C15. Veteran students, go to the pair deck I just put on chat and try the one problem I put.